crochet is definitely better than knitting. It is faster and uses much less yarn than knitting. However, knitting is quite a bit easier than crochet, so we do understand why some people would choose it, but crochet will always be on top.
Hi friends, I'm Christina. I'm one half of the author duo Cal and Ro, and this is Hooks and Books, where I do a row of my temperature blanket, and I talk to you about my favorite book that I've read recently. So yesterday's high temperature where I live was 55 degrees, which means today's color is dusty green. It's been a lot of green recently. It's been a warm winter. And today I will be talking about Love and Other Words by Christina Lauren. So I gave this book 4 stars. I really did enjoy it, and it was almost a 5-star read for me. The only thing that made it lose stars towards the end was how Christina Lauren dealt with the reveal of kind of, it wasn't a twist per se, but it was more like we knew that some event had happened and then trying to figure out what that event was. And then once we read it, I didn't love the way it was handled, and I think a big part of that is honestly because I've been so spoiled by indie and self-published authors on Kindle Unlimited who give you like a 30-page epilogue, and then if you sign up for your newsletter, you get a bonus epilogue, and it shows you what they did 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 50 years from now, and you just really get a sense that you know exactly how everyone's lives have ended up. And that's just not normal traditional publishing, and I get that, but I wish that we had more. There's basically, we found out some basically pretty traumatizing information about what happened to these characters, and then within 5 pages, the book was over, and that's just not enough for me. But other than that, it was incredible as always. I love Christina Lauren. They are the first ever author duo that I had ever heard of, and I discovered them by accident, and then I was like, oh, that's actually what I want to do with my life, is I want to write books with my best friend. So I love them for that. I think they're excellent at crafting characters. Macy and Elliot were incredible. I could not believe how much I liked it. I hate friends to lovers usually, because I just think it's a really hard trope to nail without seeming gross, or like one person was just like basically being friends with someone because they want to hook up with them. Like there's just a lot of ways for that to go wrong, but I think they handled it really well, and it's probably my new standard. Probably the only friends to lovers book that I've liked in the past, I don't know, 5 years. So that's incredible. And yeah, 4 stars. I recommend. Almost perfect. And that's it. Have a good day, guys.
I've been crocheting since the pandemic hit, and this is the first time I've ever noticed on a ball of yarn that you have both your crochet hook and your knitting hook size of which you should use. I think this is because sometimes I use a lot of scrap yarn that my grandma had, so I don't actually have like this paper lining anymore. But even when I buy yarn, guys, I've literally never noticed that it comes with both labels. But that makes sense because one yarn isn't limited to just crochet versus one yarn is limited to knitting. But guys, this is literally crazy. I'm like feeling like I'm so dumb right now for not realizing. But does anyone know what this 4 medium means? Because that's what I really want to know. And also, like, it literally tells you machine washable, do not iron, do not bleach. Like, I think this is so interesting. I've never actually read the label in its entirety to, like, see what this really means.
Even though I'm a crocheter, I really loved Free Range Knitter by Stephanie Pearl McPhee. She's also known as the Yarn Harlot. And it was funny. It was a knitting memoir, kind of written in the style of either Seinfeld or Irma Bombeck. So check it out.
Easy, you can tease me. All I need is that you see me. Do my nails, cut my hair. I'm a brand new bitch. Got my
Crochet plus Barbie. Yeah, this was a book I had to have. It's by Nikki Epstein, who is a very popular designer of knit and crochet. And this Chanel style suit, oh my goodness, isn't that wonderful? And these are all patterns for Crochet for Barbie. Granny squares. Oh, I have got to make this one. I just love this outfit. Isn't it cute? Oh my, is this glorious or what? There's one thing I really don't like about this book, and it is the yarn specifications. It's for all these specialty yarns. This book is now over 20 years old. So I don't even know if these are still manufactured. And so it's really, really difficult from that standpoint. So you have to do a lot of experimentation.
Let's add a row to my book blanket. I just finished Everything by Nicola Yoon, and I'm gonna add these colors to my book blanket. I think they match pretty good. Blue, white, blue, white. I want to talk a little bit about the book because I don't usually talk about, I just talk about like an overview usually, so I want to get into my feelings a little bit. The last couple of books that I've read that were kind of like this were, I mean, I guess all of the books are a little bit similar. You know, there's one person that's dealing with the sickness or the sadness, and then like everyone around them is supporting them, and I think that's what I like, is the support. But like the parents, like the mom in this book was just like fishy from the start, and I didn't really like her from the start, and like I just knew something was off about her from the start. And when it turned out, like towards the end of the book, when we find out like what's really going on, it's really easy to hate the mom who's like taking care of her whole life, who's, you know, like trying to make sure that she stays alive her whole life and all that stuff. But like you empathize with her, but then it's like so easy to not like her because you didn't trust her the whole time, you know? And I don't know, it's interesting because in the other book that I read like a couple days ago, her family really supported her, and what book was that? But in this book, she didn't really have a family. She just had her mom, and her mom was actually like the bad guy in the end. So it was interesting, and I really enjoyed it. The plot twist, like in my gut, I knew, and then the plot twist confirmed it. So it was a good story. And then the boy that she liked, I liked how this boy wasn't so like forward. Like he was like, obviously it moved fast because they like were in love or whatever, but he wasn't like super pushy, and like he still respected her, and like that's what I like about the boys in these books, is that they always respect the girl that they like. What I don't like is that the plot twist was like at the very end. So like I hate when you get to like, I don't know, 75% of the book and then it's just like plot twist, you know? Like this should have been like at 50% or at least 65. Another row added. And let me know if you've read everything. I really enjoyed it. Let me know what you think in the comments.
There are 5 amigurumi books that will make it hard for you to put your crochet hook down. Animal Friends of Peek-a-Pow. This is the first book in the series and is full of the cutest, most lovable animals. My favorite is Victor Frog here on the cover. Lula and her amigurumi friends. This is a collection of patterns all centered around adorable Lula. Every design is either a family member, friend, or a person from Lula's community. I loved her teacher, Mrs. Habiba, so much that I made her myself. Mini Kingdom by Aradia Toys has 36 adorable tiny amigurumi royal patterns. You'll find crochet toy designs of the king, queen, and the royal court. But you'll also find magical and realistic creatures like a dragon, a unicorn, a horse, and my favorite was the little bumblebee. Amigurumi Treasures 2 by Arena Lee is full of the sweetest crocheted toy patterns. My favorite is Benedict the Shrew. How adorable. Crochet Iconic Women by Carla Matrani will leave you feeling empowered and inspired. You'll find 15 notable women amigurumi patterns from Cleopatra to Jane Austen to Rosa Parks.
So I'm about to try crocheting with ribbon instead of yarn. Since my ribbon is pretty thick, I need to grab a thicker sized hook. I'm going to try the 6mm. So I'm creating a slip knot like I normally would, and then I'm going to try it. So slip knot made. This might be still too small of a hook, but then the next size I have is a 10-inch. So literally you're working with it the same way. And okay, so I'm going around. That didn't work. Let's try again. These are real me trying. So okay, all right, okay. So the one thing I'm not really vibing is I kind of have the ugly side. Okay, so this 6mm didn't work for this size yarn, which is about the same as my finger. So let's go now for a 10-inch and let's see if that's better. 10mm. So I'm gonna make this again. Okay. Okay, that already feels easier gripping. Okay, so I'm holding this tight and okay. I'm having some difficulty. The ribbon is slipping, and I think that's just because there's that soft side and then there's the rough side, and like with yarn, I guess I'm just used to it, or like it just doesn't have those two different sides because it's just one texture. Okay, it's working a little bit better. I'm not sure I'm loving it. Like it feels really thick to be working with, and like this is what it's looking like. So I kind of think it just looks like trash to me. Like, don't you think that just looked like, I don't know, like recycled something? Right?
Recycling is good for the planet.
Recycling is good for the planet. I agree, but I don't know.
And it's green.
It is green. Oh, look at us. We're so environmental. Okay. So, chaining has been a little bit difficult, not gonna lie. So, like, chaining-wise, this is like a 3 out of 10. Like, I just think this looks pretty but ugly. I've seen some really cool ones, but personally, I don't think I'm going to be trying to crochet with ribbon.
Say, you run it on the road, so get out the way, push the pedal to the floor, go all the way, yeah, you see I'm getting close, I accelerate, going faster, hit the gas, lose control, I won't crash, run.
Con la ayuda del dedo pulgar, pasar la hebra hacia la parte delantera de la labor, tirando del bucle un poquito hacia la derecha, mantener el dedo con la longitud deseada para el bucle. Insertar el ganchillo en el punto, echar hebra, pasarla a través del punto, echar hebra y pasarla a través de las dos lazadas del ganchillo a la vez y soltar el bucle del pulgar. Seguiremos tejiendo el punto bucle hasta finalizar la hilera. Alternaremos siempre una hilera de puntos bajos con una hilera de punto bucle. Nos vemos en el siguiente vídeo. Hasta luego.
I wanted to show you how much stuff you can make with just one ball of yarn like this. It was about the same size, maybe a smaller little weight, but yeah, I made quite a few things that I'm quite proud of with knitting and crochet. First, I made this scarf. It's just a knitted straight stitch scarf. It's quite wide and very warm, and it's really long. So this didn't even take up one whole ball of yarn, which I was surprised. I thought this was gonna take about the whole thing. And then I learned how to crochet, and I made my first granny square, and it's not great. It's really not that good, you know. This was my practice one, you know. And then I made 8 granny squares that I do like and that I will use to make a sweater. So altogether, we have a long scarf, a practice granny square, and 8 small granny squares. And here's more or less the amount of waste.
My latest shopping vlog I did with you guys, I took you to Michael's to get Feels Like Bliss. And the thing I didn't know at the time, because I don't read labels, it's 100% nylon, so it's very, very stretchy. So just wanted to give you guys a quick review. It's kind of hard to see your stitches. You kind of have to more go off of feeling. I'm going to show you what I made because I had a few questions about it. Here he is, my little loaf cat. He's so little. Just to show you for comparison, I usually use blanket yarn. This is probably Bernat or Hobby Lobby yarn. I don't remember. But look at the comparison. He's so cute. You know what you think? Which one do you prefer?
It's this Get Started with Crochet book I picked up from Michael's. Pause to see everything it has. This has been super helpful for someone like me that, you know, doesn't literally know anything about crochet, especially the abbreviations, my god. Basically, I think this would make an awesome gift for a beginner.
Hand pulling is a technique where you intentionally work colors of variegated yarn to produce a specific pattern or color effect. So this is a variegated yarn with no rhyme or reason. I just went ahead and did a classic V-stitch with this yarn. But if you look at this piece, here's a scarf that I did with variegated yarn, but I figured out where the color changes were going to be, and I made the stripes based on that. You can do this both with single flat panel crochet as well as with circular work like with knitting. So this is a variegated fabric that ends up striping with some really cool designs. You do this on your knitting machines. The really fun thing is doing this when you crochet, and you can come up with really cool argyle-like patterns. So this is variegated yarn pulled to look like argyle.
Let's keep learning how to read crochet diagrams or crochet charts, as different people call them. First of all, I wanted to introduce you to this book. It's called The Complete Book of Crochet Stitch Designs by Linda Shaper. And this is not sponsored at all, but this book has been invaluable when it comes to my personal learning. I'll be showing you this book as well as a couple more options if you would like to keep learning how to read crochet charts. So the first thing I like about this book is that it comes with your basic stitches. So it tells you how to work on each one. And then it also, in the beginning, has the international crochet symbols. So if you ever get stuck on something, all of the crochet symbols are really easy right in the beginning of the book. And then it starts out with very simple crochet patterns. So here you have your single crochets, and this book is really unique in the sense that it gives you a picture of what it's supposed to look like, as well as the crochet chart. And then it also tells you the written directions as well. And this is for every single 500 different stitches here. And I just wanted to show you just a little bit more complicated one. So as you can see, we have our picture here, so you know what it's supposed to look like, and it matches your crochet chart. And as you can see, the written instructions are pretty complicated as well. I wandered around our local library, and we had a fair amount of books here. So I decided to open up a couple and see if they had crochet charts. This one does. It's some pretty cool granny square hexagon squares. There's also this mandalas to crochet book. I definitely will be taking this book home at some point. It was really cool, in my opinion. And the Crochet Crowd book had a lot of different patterns and items, which I thought was really unique. And you can see they have their diagram, written pattern, as well as a picture of what it's supposed to look like. The internet is also a great resource for many beginner crocheters and knitters. Just type in crochet chart with the item that you would like to make, and there is probably a diagram or a chart out there for you to start working on. Hopefully this was helpful in where to start looking for crochet charts or crochet diagrams, and stay tuned for the next part of my mini-series. Bye!